The U.S. manufacturing sector has been declining for pretty much as long as anyone can remember. Lots of people say, don't worry about it. We used to be farmers. Then we made stuff. Now we have services, so it's no problem. Our guest today, Lynn Tilton, you say it is, in fact, a big problem, and we've got to do something about it.
I agree. We've gone too far. You know, every once in a while you can stretch the rubber band and then it smacks you back in the face. The reality is, in recent times, every great empire has been built on a manufacturing economy. The fall of every great empire has been the failure to remember that one fundamental fact. In the end, what we're seeing now is that we do not have enough jobs in this country for people if we do not have a manufacturing base, if we are not the makers of things. And so we need to go back to figure out why we've lost that base and how we get it back. And frankly, it's easy when you sit in here in New York and you say, services, we're a service country. But go walk the streets of Little Falls, Minnesota, where it's a boat-building town and 50% of the people are unemployed right now because no one's buying boats and the coffee shops are boarded up. Or go to Pulaski, Wisconsin, where everyone went back to their farms because they can't get a job building boats in the factory. Or in Detroit, where, you know, there is some hope, this glimmer of hope, that it's not the end of the auto industry, which we felt a year ago, but that it's a long, humble journey back. Where unemployment in Michigan is 15%, but in Detroit it may be double that. So when you talk to those people who have lost, you know, hope, who have lost their homes, who have lost their jobs, that rhetoric doesn't really resonate.
And, I mean, there's no question there's been unbelievable pain there, and it's hard to even talk about without just extending incredible sympathy. But what about that argument that the U.S. economy has changed so much over time? And there must have been a huge amount of pain when we moved away from the agrarian economy. There is always pain in the economy somewhere. Why can't we just subsist on services?
There aren't enough jobs, and frankly, there isn't enough need for pure services in this country, and not everyone is built to sit behind a computer. I mean, in the end, you know, people who have been making things with their hands for generations have always been able to have a life with dignity and take care of their family doing so. Eradicating that from our economy is an arrogance that says we are too good for that. I'm here to say there's no shame in being the maker of things. Every great economy has been built upon being the maker of things. We are de-evolving as a nation when we take those jobs away because we don't have a sufficient number of jobs that people can make a living with dignity. And people are angry and they're frightened. And in the end, just talk about the pain is not going to assuage their pain. I'm a believer that we have to rebuild the industrial base in this country.
Right. And your firm does have those companies. You have helicopter companies. You recently bought Dora Automotive, and you were saying you were going to put a plant in Michigan. Can you talk about what that process was like and what the state can or is offering to do for you?
You know, Dora Automotive's headquarters is in Michigan. It's about a $1.7 billion revenue company, and it's very global, very much in Europe. But Governor Granholm, who is so committed to trying to recreate the industry in Michigan, you know, called to say thank you, but also asked what else I could do in Michigan. And one of the things that I'm looking to do is possibly create a machine shop, which is something I need for parts for building trucks, for building armored vehicles, for building helicopters, you know, and for our automotive. So I thought that we could vertically integrate off that, and she was very willing to help with empty buildings and equipment. And that's how we need to work together to keep the costs down of beginning to build businesses to create jobs in the country. Goes right back to lending money to businesses so that they can actually keep people working in this country.
Is that machine shop going to happen real quick?
I hope so. I hope so. I usually do what I say I'm going to do.
And so how do you do this and maintain a price competitive end product? Because obviously the reason that people have moved jobs out of the country is it's not that they hate people in Michigan, but that they can do it a lot cheaper in China or wherever. So how can you compete and do it?
It's a lot more difficult. It takes a lot of innovation. In the end, you know, rebuilding a company, taking it from dust to diamonds, is rationalization, which is stemming the blood, and then innovation. Nothing's going to come easy from organic. You have to have something that's a little bit better than everybody else. I always say it's a confluence of cash and creativity. Keep the cash down and go. And look, we may not have the same profit margins we would have if we were building overseas, but I'm keeping people working in this country, and we're still making money, and we're trying to do the best thing for our investors. In the end, it may not be perfection, but frankly, if we do not employ people in this country, it will ultimately end badly for all of us. So there needs to be a greater good theory here that isn't just about the immediate best profitability, but the long-term economy for this country.
Thanks very much.